Bias in the media. Learning goal. I will learn to use critical thinking skills to interpret and identify bias and audience in media works. Success criteria. I can define the different types of bias, identify the types of bias in a media work, and identify the audience and purpose in a media work. Lesson. Before reading. In the previous presentation, you learned that content is one of the 5 concepts of media studies. The concept of content in media studies emphasizes that producers of media texts have their own values, beliefs, opinions, and biases. These can influence what gets told and how it is told. This lesson will focus on how to recognize bias in a media text. Big question. So, what is bias? A bias is a prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. When analyzing bias in the media, it is important to consider topic, purpose, and audience. Purpose. What is the purpose of the article? The purpose of the article can be to explain, to entertain, to express, to persuade, to inform, to describe, to analyze, to recommend, to summarize, to instruct, and to hypothesize. When you're asked to identify the purpose of a media work, you need to evaluate whether or not it's one of these. Audience. Who is the target audience? Target audience. The audience is the creator, the audience the creator is trying to reach based on age, gender, race, and class. When identifying the target audience, be specific. Don't just say all adults. Think of a specific age range. Think of a class. So poor, rich, so forth. Think of a race that it might be targeted at. All media works have a target audience. So when evaluating or analyzing a media work, consider who might be the target audience. Topic. Topic is the easiest one. What are they writing about? This is usually found in the title or so forth. So, your task is to view the following photos. Today is election day. It's November 8th when I'm recording this, so I thought it might be fitting to find some Hillary Clinton attack ads. Political ads are some of the most biased media works out there because they're always represented by one political party. And they're trying to persuade a certain audience to vote for them, not the other political party. So view these 2 photos and then answer the following questions in a discussion post. When you're answering, remember to always reflect the question in the response, include textual details, proofread for clarity, spelling, and grammar, and analyze and interpret the information. So your 4 questions are these political advertisements biased? Why or why not? Spoiler, they are biased, so tell me why or why not. Do these political advertisements depict accurate information? If so, what is accurate? If not, what is inaccurate? Who is the target audience? Be specific. I say be specific because oftentimes students will just say adults, children, everyone. That is not good enough. That is not a target audience. Be sure to include a specific target audience. And then what is the purpose of this ad? Remember, purpose. Is it to explain, to entertain, to express, to persuade, to inform, to describe, etc.? Your link to the discussion post is right here. If you click on that beauty, it's going to go right to it. During reading, view the following PowerPoint and take notes. Be sure to download as a PowerPoint so you can hear the audio. So if we click on this link here, it's going to take us to our PowerPoint presentation. In order to hear the audio that accompanies this presentation, if you prefer to hear someone reading it instead of reading it yourselves, you're going to go to this button here and you're going to download it. Once you're finished reading through the PowerPoint presentation, you're going to read through the following note that identifies the types of bias. This gives more information on the types of bias, so it's just like double your learning. You go here, it opens up and it identifies the different types of bias. Be sure to know all these biases and the definitions for them. After reading, now you identify the different types of bias in a news article. You should be able to find 5 different types of bias in the article. Be sure to use the types of bias information sheet to assist you. So this sheet here, you should have it right beside you while you're reading through the article so that you're able to easily recognize the types of bias while reading the article. So, the assignment. First, view the following video that provides you with valuable background information needed to understand the article's context. This is very important. If you don't understand the article's context, then you won't be able to easily identify the types of bias found in this article. So as we see,
I asked my dentist if an electric toothbrush was going to clean better than a manual. He said sure.
It is.
But don't. It's been a year since Russia annexed.
A 2-minute video that gives you a lot of really great information about a current event that is still going on today. So this information is both valuable for your assignment and valuable for your everyday life. Once you're finished understanding the article's context by viewing this video, then you will view the following article. This is your bias news article. This is where you're going to find all the different types of bias, specifically 5 different types of bias. So, most Russians support integration of Crimea, polls show. This is why I had you watch a video about Russians' annexation of Crimea. So as you can see, this is all here for you. It's just a short one-page article. Your best bet is to print this article out, have your types of bias sheet beside you, and highlight where you see types of bias. So while reading the article, you need to complete the following graphic organizer. Be sure to include direct quotes from the article that you think are biased, what type of bias they represent, and explain why they represent that type of bias. So once you're finished reading the bias news article and highlighting what types of bias you see in that article by using the types of bias printout sheet, then you will transfer that information onto your Detecting Bias graphic organizer. So, it's worth 10 points, okay? 10 marks. Identify 5 types of bias in the following article. So the article about Russia annexing Crimea, that is the article they are discussing here. Be sure to include a specific example from the article. That means a direct quote as well as an interpretation as to show why it is bias. So you might say bias by statistics under type of bias. Then under your example, you're going to include the quote from the article that made you say, oh, that's bias by statistics. And then you're going to tell me why it is considered bias by statistics. So this information here should connect with this information here. So type of bias is all of those types of biases. You're identifying 5. And then the example and interpretation is a textual quote plus why that is the type of bias. Once you are finished completing your Detecting Bias graphic organizer, then you will submit your graphic organizer for assessment using this link. Remember to include direct quotes from the article, to interpret those quotes. Tell me why it's biased, And to make sure you use that types of bias printout sheet, all those definitions, that you use this while you are actually reading through the article. If you don't use this, if you don't use this, you won't be able to easily recognize those types of bias unless you have, an incredible memory that read it once and were able to memorize each definition. That's amazing if you can do that, but most of us cannot, so have this sheet beside you while you are viewing the article. Thanks and good luck.